Hi, I'm Leandro Facchinetti. Let's talk about audio production. How are you doing, Arya?
I'm doing good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm great. I'm very happy now. I hope that everyone can hear you on the stream, and I hope that the stream will be smooth today in terms of like my machine not falling on its face.
Yeah,
Uh,
fingers crossed.
yes, we were just setting the audio and the video and the connections and everything. Now you hear me in stereo and we hear you via OBS directly, so that is supposed to be faster. So remember how we streamed for 6 hours talking about how we set up our stream? Yeah, everything about that is
Yeah,
obsolete at this point.
yeah. We update as fast as Reaper over here.
Speaking of that, here is my new audio chain. I changed everything that we did together that time. This is what I'm using now. I have a denoiser, which is the Burton denoiser. Very happy with this guy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, zero
Yeah.
latency, and the result is okay. I like it. Then for EQ, I'm using this EQ because
Oh, TDR Nova, lovely.
it does dynamic EQ, so I don't have to use a multi-band compressor, but I can DS directly here in the equalizer,
Yeah.
which is fun.
Built-in de-esser.
And it
I'm
does.
seeing though your SS being a little bit like being a little bit higher than you have it set. I see your SS around like 7-ish and you have it set to like 4.5-ish. You can say
Oh.
something like snakes on a plane.
Snakes on a plane. There you go. I just went with the preset for de-essing. But you're right, yes. This looks more like... Does it make any audible difference? Do you hear any difference on this?
When it comes to speech, it's really hard to hear S's because the way our brains make sense of speech is really complex and it has nothing to do with the levels they are set at. So on old phones, for example, the like 7K range wasn't even really getting like communicated, but we were picking it up like we can do it. So no, I don't hear an audible difference, but there must be, right?
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose I can even probably go lower with this threshold, so it is more aggressive.
I was gonna say overall also your ratio is very subtle there. Make that like a 4-to-1 if you want to really kind of hear it.
I won't hear it because I have I'm not hearing myself. But and one of the reasons being that this is not zero latency, right? I mean, and the whole chain is not zero latency anymore, and I am compensating the latency by clapping and then synchronizing everything in OBS. So you all should see my lips moving according to what you hear, but the truth is that I don't hear anything coming from myself. And I just went with the preset here, and I put a high pass and a low pass, and I also put this here. This band is trying to reduce the boxiness. But and then I am using this as the de-esser right now, and I am probably being very aggressive. But do you hear any difference? Does it sound nice?
Yeah, like I mean, here you can feel the difference. It's like a little bit softer around that range, and it does kind of affect the overall brightness of your voice. But for speech, like we're not going for that like majestic bright sound of vocals, so I think this is overall nicer on the ears, more level on the meter.
Okay, yes, sounds good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this maybe minus 23. I don't want to be too aggressive too, right? I want it to be more or less natural as much as possible. And then I'm using the tri-leveler, which is not what we did together. So the tri-leveler is 3 compressors in one, a fast compressor with relatively so it doesn't really work in terms of threshold. So it's a fast compressor, but it's not affecting
it just attenuates.
Yeah, it's not working too much. Then there is a medium compressor, and you don't get to set the attack and release on those. They're baked in. But this is doing the bulk of the work in terms of leveling. And then there is a very slow, which is like 3 seconds worth of window. And these are the defaults. I didn't even change this. What I did change was I enabled the auto input and threshold, which is the default. And then I spoke for like, I guess, 30 seconds or 1 minute. And then I turned this off. That's super important because by default, you would use the tri-leveler on something pre-recorded, and then the auto input and threshold would be constantly learning, but they learn very slowly, so that's fine. But because I am streaming, I am enabling everything, I'm turning on Reaper and everything, but I'm not speaking the whole time. So this auto input and threshold would go to the roof because it doesn't hear any signal, so it increases the levels. And then when I started speaking, it would like blast the sound very loudly, and then it would correct. So I just learned the settings that work for me, and I turned auto off. So this is what works for me. And I put the target, which is usually -23 to -16. And I think it sounds nice. And it is averaging this LUFS thing. So I think that this is nice. And then I do the time adjustment that I mentioned. I did this by clapping and measuring. And then I am using relimit as the limiter. And that's something that we did together, I think. So the threshold of -1 and a brick wall ceiling of -1 as well. And I put that everywhere. So even the sound that I hear is going through a limiter. The sound that you, Aria, hear, sound that the stream is hearing. We all have limiters. So that's what we are doing. Cool update on that. And then you have to leave in like less than an hour. So you said that you had a plan. What is your plan?
My plan is for you to open your project, and I'll give you like, I'll say some stuff at you for like 2 minutes, and then you just start mixing. We don't really talk until the need to talk comes. You know what I mean? What do you think about this idea?
Sounds good. I was thinking that we could start with, so we have 2 projects on the table. I was thinking that we could start with the simpler project. So I showed you 2 songs last week, and I think I'm gonna go with the simpler one. It will probably be faster to mix. It's almost ready, so we are just gonna do some tweaks and we are gonna call it a day. And I'm in the mood of finishing stuff. So that's why I'm picking the easier project, and we are not going to do a lot on this. We are just going to tweak it here and there, and we will finish a song today. No matter what, this song is going to be bounced by the end of the stream.
Cool. Sounds like a good challenge.
Yeah, so let's start by hearing what we have. And I already did some work in terms of mixing. So you see here that there are EQs and compressors and de-essers, and there is even some limiter and OTT here on the master. So do you want to like bypass something to audition this?
No, let's see what it is.
Okay, let me just make sure that I have the outputs correct. Because if I don't, then you will not hear me. So I want this to go to me. I want this to go to Aria, and I want this to go to the stream. Right now I'm doing something boring. You're gonna have to wait. I'm probably renaming some variables or something like that. But the show must go on. So I wrote this song to keep you entertained. I hope you're entertained. you're standing by. I'm sure it won't take long, and then we'll return to coding or whatever we're doing. Meanwhile, the show must go on, so I wrote this song to keep you entertained. I hope you're entertained. Usually I try to read from the chat when I'm doing something like this, but now for whatever reason I think I need to concentrate. Please do me a favor and talk among yourselves. As soon as this is over, I'll catch up with what you say. Meanwhile, the show must go on, so I wrote this song to keep you entertained.
Ow, that burned my
Meanwhile,
hand.
the show must go on, so I wrote this song to keep you entertained. I hope you're entertained.
All right.
All right, so tell me things for 2 minutes and let's get this started.
Okay. So I mean, this is gonna be well. Okay. So that 2 minutes thing, that was gonna be for the other mix. For this mix, I have another comment to make, and really, like, this is like 2 elements. So the mix shouldn't take too long. But there's a. I guess I should start by saying, like, I love the song. You know, it's the vocal processing and stuff is really nicely done. And overall, there's not like much to be done, honestly. Like, the guitar is sitting in its lane, the vocals are sitting in their lane. However, there's one big issue in the song, and that is the vocal noise, like above 10K, is basically like basically when there are no vocals, there's basically no information above 10K. And then when the vocals come in, there's information above 10K. And I would say the majority of that information is like the hiss from your vocal recording. So you have 2 ways of tackling this. One is to try to remove the noise from the vocals, which will cause artifacting and all that stuff. And in a song with a sparse arrangement like this, those artifacts will be like easier to detect, but that's one way of going about it. And of course, you don't want to just like low pass in this case, because the tone of your vocal is so much based on it being so bright. So the other thing is, what if you were to introduce an element that has a lot of noise in that region, so that when your vocal comes in and goes out, we don't feel that, like, because of whenever your vocals are going out, even between 2 phrases, we start to hear a void in the 10K range, and then the vocal comes in, and that will make your brain really focus on the hiss, which you hear the hiss, right?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I want to do a bunch of things at this point. I want to save a copy of this project so we can do a before and after. Okay. But I want to hear and see what you are talking about, because I don't right now. Okay. So let me go to my To Keep You Entertained project, and I have another copy here that was probably from last week. Let me duplicate this file, and this is going to be our before.
Cool.
And then let's see and hear what you are saying. So you are making our assessments based on the final mix. So I'm going to put this after everything on the master chain. I'm going to put this spectrum analyzer. And one thing, I really like the way it looks. One thing to know about it is that it has a slope of 4.5 dB. So it is like pink noise would look horizontal on this one. And that's something that you have to know about it when you're reading it off. Then
I was gonna suggest actually that you use the Psyche analyzer because like on the ReEQ, we see the range of 10K to 20K is very thin. I don't know if you can change that, but with the Psyche one, you can make that to be equal, so you can really kind of devote a good amount of space, and you can just resize it kind of as you go. So I have really fallen in love with the Spectrum. I think it's literally the best I've ever used in my life. No, not that one. It's called Spectrum Analyzer, I think. Psyche Spectrum Analyzer.
There is the beta and the alternative.
I think it's the alternative. Mine is called Psyche Multispectral Analyzer.
Oh, okay.
Wait, why is this different? Oh, no, yeah, alternative. It's the alternative.
Okay.
The
Here
one
it
that
is.
So if you like drag on that horizontally or vertically, it resizes. So you can see like a good amount, even right there, we can see like a really huge amount of screen real estate devoted to 10K and above. So you can see that real
no,
nice and good.
I am scrolling. Oh, okay. When I scroll, what the heck is going on? I need to first understand this before I can actually use this. Right now I'm doing... Okay, so first thing is that it's reversed. So I scroll down to zoom in.
Oh, okay. Mine is not mine is not doing that thing. It's interesting.
And as soon as I brought this on the screen, the quality of your voice dropped. So maybe my computer will not be able to handle this, even if I'm not using Skype.
Okay, well, just play it and let's look at it.
Yeah, but I don't even know how to operate this thing. It doesn't really make sense to me. So right now the numbers below
use what you like then.
No, let's use
the
this.
ReEQ.
Let's use this. It's just that I need to make sense of it first. So I'm going. I think I can ignore all these controls, but I don't know how to navigate this. So there is the range here of 20K to 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's right. And then when I zoom in, I scroll down, I'm zooming in, but how do I go to the sides? Is there any kind of scrolling, horizontal scrolling? No. How do you go to the side?
I have never even zoomed in on this, so I don't know.
Ah, okay. So you don't zoom in. What were you saying before then? You were saying that you can scroll or click around, or what was it?
Just the size that is allocated to the 10K to 20K range horizontally, the space is a bit bigger than ReEQ, but not a huge issue. You can use ReEQ if you're comfortable. And actually, you can then even solo that band. So maybe ReEQ is all better. Just forget the things I said.
Ah, I see what you mean. It's kind of hard to tell, but the 10K is over here on this one, and it's over there on that one. And it seems like an all-time favorite is
Span by Voxengo.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to bring up.
Yeah, this is so great. This is just the best. I actually, for some reason, don't have it. I should really get it. Yeah, there we go. Big, nice. And we can even go like mid-side and shit like that on this.
Yes. So let's use that one, and I will try to see and hear what you mean.
Sure.
Right now I'm doing something boring. You're gonna have to wait. I'm probably renaming some variables or something like that. Why did it click? It is night and day. It's very easy to see. It's very easy to see when my voice comes in that there's a lot more information on this range. Now, in terms of hearing that, I cannot claim to actually hear that happening, but I can definitely see that.
I would say if you don't hear that, I would guess that your hearing is better than mine because I played bass in bands in venues for a few years. So if you don't hear that, I would guess that you are monitoring too quietly on your headphones. So you should crank it.
But it may also be that I just don't have the training necessary to hear that. So I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, right? Let's try this.
So let me give you a quick tip. Try to think of the sound of bacon frying, okay? So imagine that sound in your head, and when your vocals come in, try to hear bacon frying.
Okay. That. But the show must go on. So I wrote this song to keep you entertained. I hope you're entertained. Thanks for standing.
No bacon. Bacon.
Not really. I don't think I hear what you're saying, but I know where this comes from. I mean, I know one part of the equation here. When I put this, not this guy, when I put this guy, so the amp emulation on the guitar, it really took off some high frequency information, and it sounded better, but
it sounds great. The guitar is perfect, yeah.
Okay.
I have no problem with the guitar.
Yeah, by the way, let's just talk about what I did there. So maybe you can give me tips, or I just want to show what I used. Because I don't think I did this last time. I talked about the guitar on some other song, but not on this one. So first of all, I'm using the EQ curve that we developed together.
Cool.
Then I put some compressor in there because, well, very subtle stuff. Even the ratio is very subtle, but yeah, I wanted the performance to be more consistent. Then some modulation, a chorus, and I don't think I changed a lot on this thing in terms of the settings. More modulation, a tremolo. I did increase the stereo on this thing. Then the amp. And on this one, I changed very little. I probably brought up the mids and maybe changed a bit of the tone knob. And then my go-to reverb, this guy. And that's the guitar tone.
Cool.
That's all there is to it.
Cool.
And in terms of the vocal, I used this curve, very similar to the EQ curve that I showed on the streaming thing. I tried this de-esser. I'm not in love with this.
Okay, looks complicated.
Yeah, I put a lot of other things here, and then the S's really were horrible. So I put this de-esser in, and I tried it. I think it sounds nice now, so I'm not going to touch this, probably, maybe, unless we need it. But I am much happier with the controls on the Nova Dynamic EQ that I showed before. Then I have a respectrum here because I was trying to tame the S's, so I was using this to see the S's.
Cool.
Then almost the same deal in terms of compression here. I used this thing, the vocal doubler. It's a chorus. That's what it is.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't do well. The doubler. Okay, so what it's supposed to do is to do timing, pitch, and loudness variation. However, I don't know. I've tried like a lot of doubler plugins. They seem to skimp on the timing stuff, and really, it's it's 90% about the timing stuff versus the pitch and the loudness stuff. it's like changing the differences and not just kind of shifting the time. Like that's such a new move. But continuously changing discrepancy between the time of two lines is really the key. And a Waves plugin that I use called ADT. That one does a decent job. But yeah, it's an effect. You like it? Cool.
Yeah, well, I had to dial it back a lot from when you load it on the track because it goes for like out of the worldliness when you
Okay.
just drop it on the track. But I
Yeah.
reduced the amount, I reduced the separation, reduced the variation a lot, and I think it sounds nice. I can A/B, so I can show you what it's doing to the track. But another thing I did is I put the Burton EQ analyzer thing, and I looked at what this is doing, and it is a chorus effect. What you described is a chorus kind of thing, right? You delay the signal by a couple samples, and then you modulate the amount of delay. And that's what this is doing. If you look at it on the spectrum analyzer, it looks like a chorus. So it is a chorus. That's most of what this is doing. And I have plenty of choruses. I have
When
another
I
one.
say, I guess the difference between a chorus and a doubler is that the doubler is not only supposed to do all the stuff that a chorus does, but it's supposed to constantly change the rate that it does those things in, right? So, like back in the day, the early doublers at the Abbey Road studios and stuff, there were a chorus effect that was connected to a tape. And then that tape would constantly be in a random manner slowed down and sped back up.
Well, that's what a
So
chorus
not
is
only you
supposed
have
to
a
do, right?
chorus effect. No, so chorus on its own just detunes, and then there's a rate of detuning modulation. And it could do also a delay, but that delay again is a fixed amount. But now imagine if you had a chorus on all the parameters of a chorus. So they are shifting the shift itself through
Oh,
time.
so
Does that
maybe
make sense?
maybe I misunderstood how the chorus was supposed to work, because as far as I understood, the chorus was supposed to do the thing you are describing. It was supposed to modulate the amount of delay. It was supposed to modulate all the parameters involved.
No, yeah. Chorus is just pitch. Flanger is rate. So it's a flanger is a small delay, and then the timing of that delay changes against the original. And then phase is just time, no pitch, no loudness. And then doubler is all these things, but not only all these things, but all these things changing in a random way. So sometimes it's slower, sometimes it's fine behind the listener or behind the original, sometimes it falls way ahead. Same thing with the pitch. Sometimes the pitch is lower, sometimes it's higher. It's like hanging out around the same kind of general area.
Oh, so now I actually want to do the Burton EQ. Burton. Let me put this before.
Oh, you got that? Cool.
And
Whoa. Why did that click?
because it's sending clicks. So the way that this plugin works is
okay.
it sends a click and then it plots the frequency response of that click.
Cool. It's fun.
So see, all this comb filtering and moving over time, that to me seems like what a chorus would do.
Yeah, but if you look at a chorus just does the pitch part of stuff. Technically speaking, some choruses may have like extra parameters, but like in the early kind of definitions, chorus is pitch, flanger is rate, and phase is just placement.
Good to know. Okay, so in any case, I liked the result of this, and I will A/B this.
Cool.
Bo asks, "Hey Bo, great to have you here." And he asks, "What kind of click is it sending?" Talking about the Burton EQ analyzer, it's an impulse train is the technical term for this. Here's something I can try real quick, and I will show you
I
this.
get a gonna get a chair for my cat.
Okay, so while Arya is away, I had the same question actually. So this is what I did. I put some take effects and I put the Burton EQ analyzer thing on the track. And then
You have 29 minutes to ship this track, by the way.
That's fine. I think we'll be able to do it.
Okay.
I'll put this file there and then let's glue this and then zoom in to the thing. So well, this is what this Burton EQ thing is doing. It's just sending a bunch of zeros and then a 1 and then a bunch of zeros. And it just keeps doing that. And on the other side, there is a frequency spectrum analyzer that is calibrated on this Windows size. In fact, now that I say this out loud, there is something cool that we can do. If you load the Burton EQ thing, it is using an order of 12. 2 to the 12 is 4096. So what happens if I put on this track spectrum analyzer? I hear a lot of echo coming from you, Arya. There is a lot of headphone bleed.
Sorry.
So we were at 4096. And let's play this. That does not work. I was kind of expecting this to work. That's too bad. But if I integrate? Nope. Whatever, that's how this works. I think this answers the question. Lots and lots and lots of headphone bleed. More than ever. Are you doing something different, Ari?
I don't know. It's not from me because I'm seeing it on my Reaper. So if I'm quiet now and you talk.
Hello? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, nothing's coming from my speakers.
That's weird. But yeah, okay. It seems to be fixed. I don't hear anything anymore. Now I hear it. What the fuck? This is weird. Okay, and then to finish the vocal thing, my go-to reverb and then some gain. Why did I use this plugin to do gain? I have no idea, but I used it. Then cool. On the master, OTT, but dialed back. Not very deep. And some EQ. Oh, so maybe this is taking out that frequency range, maybe. I just heard what I liked and blah, blah, blah. And then a maximizer.
Sure. I would say one thing about this overall mix, everything you do. You could be a little bit too conservative with some of the stuff you're doing. So your compression is only like 1.8 to 1. Your EQs are within like a couple of dB. And if it gets you the sound you want, like that's fine. But really at one point in the mix, somewhere in the mix, some people do it on the buses and do bus processing. A lot of people are of the belief that it's better to do a few stages of subtle compression versus one stage of crazy compression. But you are doing like very subtle amounts on the track level. And then you are doing, like, I would assume on your ozone elements, you have, if I just had to fucking throw a number, I would say like 9 dB. There you go. Oh my God. Genius.
Well, yes. I showed you this 5 seconds ago.
Oh, okay, then whatever. But yeah, you're boosting, you're putting all the boost at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're not putting all the you're not putting like you can kind of do it like in stages, but also like, not that this is wrong. And for a song with 2 elements, like this is completely okay. But overall, if you're doing something and you're like, I'm not really hearing the difference, but I guess, then exaggerate the hell out of it. Like a ratio of 1.8 to 1 is too subtle to hear. A ratio of 4 to 1 would should be easy to hear. So if you want to hear compression more, do more.
Yeah, I'm so used to doing the vocal chain and trying to be subtle and try not to be heard. So I guess that's why I'm going for subtle effects everywhere. But you're saying to like increase the ratio, right?
Like yeah, like over. I'm not saying like on this mix per se. I'm just saying like overall, you can be less conservative with your moves if you have trouble hearing them. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes sense. I will increase the ratio on these guys. I don't think it will make a huge difference, but who knows? It could be fun. And I'll also want to catch up with what you all are saying because it seems like you know a lot more than I do about all the modulation effects, and I want to learn. So I'm going to read this. Flanger is speech modulation, but so short enough to change the phase. I thought that flanging was just changing the timing. It was like a delay with modulation.
It is just the time that, and then the delay, and then the rate of the time change is changing.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
So I took that definition right from Google.
Yeah, I hear that. I heard that story that they had the same signal playing in two tapes, and they would like put their finger on one of the tapes to slow it down. Yeah.
So Bo's saying if you place a finger on the flange of a tape roll, the pitch will change. The moment you put it on, the pitch will wobble for a second, but it won't be constantly changing like it is on a chorus.
Yes.
So chorus versus phase versus flange.
Man, that is complicated. CRNKMNKY. Hey, great to have you here. I don't know how to say it.
Crank monkey. I believe it's crank monkey.
There you go. Flanging on a tape would be a good producer tag for trap music. Okay. Let's try to finish this mix in 20 minutes. Let's focus on this.
So I really want you to hear that 10K and above. So let's do whatever it takes, including soloing the vocals and boosting the 10K on with an EQ that you later remove. Baby girl, you gotta let Papa work.
All right, so I am going to solo something, and then we'll hear this. Right now I'm doing something boring.
I'm boosted too.
You're gonna have to wait. I'm probably renaming some variables or something like that.
Think bacon.
But the show must go on. So I wrote this song to keep you entertained.
Do you hear the bacon?
I hope you're entertained. There is one thing that bugs me. I have a bandpass here, but I still see some material over there.
You're monitoring the out. Yeah, that's above my pay grade.
Doesn't really make sense to me, but never mind that. I do think that I hear what
I'm not
you're
an
saying.
expert of TDR Nova, to be honest.
Okay, do you want to try another one?
I mean, now that we have Delta, yeah, use anything, or use that.
I can put this on bandpass with a steep curve like this.
Even another thing you can do, Leandro, is your vocals, like after the phrase, you edit them tight, like we talked about earlier. So maybe grab a bit of silence, loop it, solo the 10K, and don't stop until you hear the bacon. And then once you hear the bacon, try to hear it in the vocals.
Okay, let's do that.
That bacon, Izzy.
So right now we have some silence. And you're saying that the issue is like noise in the recording. It's not an issue of some effects or something.
Could be the effects. I'm not sure. The effects are probably accentuating it. But also, it's even the noise itself isn't an issue. It's the fact that the noise is only on the vocals. So as soon as a vocal phrase stops, 10K goes down, and then as soon as vocals start, it comes back up. So yeah, there you go. You hear that? You gotta hear that.
I hear that.
Yeah.
And I want to see that. Our ears are overrated. I want to see everything. Okay. I see that. And this is what we are trying to get rid of, I suppose.
And especially you see on 8K, there's like a peak.
Yes?
What up with that? That's interesting. That interests me.
Yeah. Let's do some quick math here. What is the fundamental frequency going on there? It's like 50 hertz, a multiple of 8K. Seems to be. So maybe that's just line noise.
Definitely, yeah. It's the 160th octave of of 50.
Of 50?
No, wait, I did the math wrong of that. Sorry, but yeah.
So maybe that's just line noise. I mean, remember that I live in Europe, so my line noise is not 60 hertz, it's 50.
50, yeah. I mean, it's, again, like the issue is not the noise existing. If noise is always there, we are able to tune it out. But if noise comes and goes, it makes itself more known because your brain like lets go of audio information that stays constant. So you come into a room, you hear a clock ticking. After under a minute, you stop hearing the clock ticking because your brain goes, I'm not receiving any extra new information that I need for my survival from that sound. So fuck that sound. So with this noise thing is like your vocals, every time a phrase comes in and goes out, that noise comes in and then goes out. So every time we notice it again. So yeah, you can remove it by removing it, but that will also darken the sound of your vocals. Or you can lay a bed, like a bed of noise that could be like sounds of the forest or something like that. And that will help because you also have 2 lines only in this song. So you need some filler. You need like a background. The foreground is like a person talking in front of a green screen. So now you need a background for that, if that makes sense.
That makes sense, yes. Now, so I hear this. Now I want to try to hear this in context.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now I'm doing something boring. You're gonna have to wait. I'm probably renaming some Oh, for the life of me, I cannot hear that in context. I cannot hear. I mean, I know what you mean. When the noise is more prominent, I hear that in other situations. But this is so quiet, or maybe out of my range because I'm 30 years old, 31 now, that I don't hear that. But I do. Okay. I want to fix this. So one fix, I guess, would be to just glue this and have another track and then loop this over the whole song, right?
Have like a fill track. Yeah, exactly. If you want even like to get fancier with that, there's all kinds of like tape noise you can download from like archive.org. It's just the sound of a record player running without a record on it. That's nice. Gives it a little bit of a vinyl-y sound, if that's what you're. Though I would say the overall sound of this song is really modern. It's not vinyl-y, like retro-y, right? It's new lo-fi.
I don't think it's lo-fi, but okay. So let's hear this with and without.
Put it in the same processing chain. Make it the child.
I think I hear that, but I don't know. It is
Cool.
so quiet, so subtle. I don't know.
I
But
think you hear that. And I think crank your headphones more.
no,
Crank that
I
baby.
will go deaf.
No, you'll be okay. We're all deaf.
Okay, now I hear that.
Cool. Good.
But okay, so now that I hear that, let me try to hear this in context.
Cool.
Right now I'm doing something boring. You're gonna have to wait. I'm probably renaming some variables or something like that. But the show must go on. So I wrote this song to keep you entertained. I hope you're entertained. Thanks for standing by. Okay, so I tried to mute and unmute this both when there is only the guitar and when there is the voice. And I think that it actually annoys me more when the thing is on, because when the voice is happening, I don't hear a lot of difference. But I think I hear the bacon that you're saying, but the noise constantly just existing there annoys me more than the bacon in the voice.
Okay. Cool. Then, yeah, I mean, if you want, you can try your Bertom denoiser thing on the vocals. Just make it be like really just like 11K above. If you want to kind of get that under control. But otherwise, like if it's not bothering you, who am I to say anything,
So yeah, let's do this. Let's bring back the noise and solo the noise. And then let's bring in the denoiser.
And remember that before you glued it, you boosted it 4 dB. So maybe bring it down 4 dB before you do that.
Okay.
Gotta get yourself some hotkeys there.
Maybe.
I'm on you about hotkeys and track coloring.
So I don't have
change your range up there first. So your range is now 100 to 10K. Really, like my personal issue is way higher than that. So expand that. Yeah, expand the high range to however much it goes.
It goes only to
12 18 or something.
It goes only to 12.
Oh. Okay,
but there is a high frequency bias. Well, it seems to take less of the high end.
Yeah. All right. Well, 12K is a good start. I mean, who hears above 12K? Not me.
And then
really, what I hear is like 8 to 12K. I don't hear whatever's above that. I do not hear that.
Okay. So this, to me, gets completely the noise out of the equation here.
That does a lot. That does a whole ton.
Yes.
I would even take the 1.2. How far does the 1.2 go? Does it go higher? The bottom range.
No, that's the maximum.
Okay.
Well, but what I can do is
this helps.
I can do this, so it's now not taking anything away from these frequencies.
Cool. And then maybe with 12K, bring it down more. Oh, I am hearing the 4K noise as well. Oh, that helped so much. The 6.7, woo, that really took care of a lot of stuff. You hear that faint metronome in there as well?
I hear that,
and it's
yes.
like a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit polyrhythmic because it's like not the loop is not a perfect measure. So it goes boop beep beep boop deep boop
So that
beep
is
beep
headphone
boop
bleed,
deep.
right?
Yeah.
Oh man, but that's something that you could never ever hear, right? Unless you are in this context
No,
when.
that's not an issue. Yeah, yeah, that's not an issue. If you
Okay.
hear that, you're almost more proud of yourself than annoyed. You know what I mean? If you hear the metronome in a song, there's an Adele song where there's metronome in it, and I forget the name. But when I heard that metronome, I was proud of myself more than being like, oh, what unprofessional mini do. It's like it's Adele. It's good music. Don't be a prick.
I don't know. I don't like it, but okay. Not to stir the pot, but it's not my cup of tea. All right. Okay. So I'm happy with this. Let's hear this in context and see if it makes any difference.
Cool.
So right now I'm going to mute.
Cool.
Thanks for standing by.
Woo!
I'm sure it
That
won't
helps.
take long. And then we'll return to coding or whatever we're doing. Whatever we're doing. I now hear
It
more.
definitely helped. You now hear more noise.
Yeah, when there is like this ending here and it chops off, I hear that ending, I think.
Yeah,
Cool.
that is the most unsettling part. Is it because that one line is plus 6 dB?
Maybe. So I did a bit of leveling here, and for each of these sections, I adjusted so it would. Maybe it was because my compressor wasn't working hard enough.
So if you want to deal with that issue, what you gotta do is apply the denoiser and print it, and then do the leveling after that. Or you can just do volume envelope, which I know you're not a fan of, but it's easy. You can do it.
Oh, I'm
You're a
not.
coding genius. This stuff is a piece of cake.
It's not that I'm not a fan of it, it's that I don't know how to do it. But there is something else that is bugging me. It seems like my buffer size is not big enough to run all of this, so I'm increasing the buffer of my own and everything, but it may get rid of the clicks coming from you. I was hearing a lot of clicks, and I bet that the stream is hearing a lot of clicks as well. So I think that that is solved, but it may get everything out of sync. So my lips now may be out of sync. Never mind that. It's okay.
Lips are fine.
Okay. So let's try this again. Or whatever we're doing. So what can I do about this?
So subtler fades also help. That's another way of getting this kind of more under control. But yeah, like if this was, if you were making an Adele record, right, what you would do is take the dry vocals that don't have any like volume automation on them, however you get to that. Apply the denoiser and print that, and then you can write that without the noise coming up and down with the rest of your sound.
That makes sense.
That would be one way of tackling it. I'm from a film belief system, so I'm like, do you like the sounds of the tropics? You get like a recording of that, and you put it under everything else, and no problems. That's what they do in film. Like they just put extra noise because you can't take out all the noise when you shot a dialogue scene with a boom pole in a car in New York City.
Or whatever we're doing. Yeah, even with the fade, I still hear that. By the way, Arya, I think that you monitor everything too loudly, because I can only hear this when I'm cranked up to 30, and I usually go with 2.
So the way I do it is that I use like an SPL meter on my phone, and I get it to 85 on the JBLs on my speakers, and then can't really measure SPL of headphones. So then you gotta earball it. So you gotta like take your headphones on and off, or I have a switch where I can turn off my headphones. So I like do the levels so that in my ears this feels as loud as the speakers. And 85 is a lot. 85 is a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I should probably be more careful. But like I hear the things.
Yeah, you hear what
I
didn't.
also have to leave.
Yes, I was gonna say that I don't have a way to see the time because Reaper has so many menus that it hides the clock. Freaking hate that. Okay, so you have to leave in 4 minutes. So let's wrap this up. I said that I wanted to bounce this at the end of the stream, and it seems like we still have a lot of noise going on. So maybe this is gonna fix it. Thanks for staying or whatever.
You wanna do an experiment?
This is much better.
So much better. Just the fades help.
Yeah, I can still hear some of that.
You should do something, Leandro. Instead of wrapping up on the stream, just keep mixing on the stream. Just keep trying stuff. Like you're on a good track. You know, you're testing things. You're doing stuff. Ship it. You don't need me.
No. I also want to stop the stream. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this noise in. I think it helps. And this is not perfect. It's not a perfect track, especially not at this point. But you will be hearing this on the stream at some point. And I'm bouncing this. I don't know exactly how I'm going to use this later.
I was going to suggest I put it on YouTube and be like, who hears noise or something. Maybe nobody hears the noise and we just hear it because I'm monitoring too loud.
Well, and also I am trying to learn all of these things. So it is good that you're bringing this up. And it was a very good point. So yeah, I'll take care of the noise. And do you have any last words?
Oh, do you want to do our stream? No, I was going to say let's do a stream on Friday, but I can't this Friday. But from next week, you're going to be mad. Can we switch back to Mondays for the scripting streams?
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be mad.
All right.
Okay, so tomorrow we are not streaming together. Tomorrow I'll be back to my JSFX library. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do on that one. I may continue the Fourier transform stuff. And let's hear what you all have to say. No, don't stop. I will not stop. Tomorrow I'll be back. And I may do one or two things with the track before I really bounce it, but I will not do a lot because I think it is in a relatively good place and I am a beginner. So of course I need to put stuff out there that will not be great. In any case, thank you for being here. I see you back here tomorrow. I will be doing some JSFX stuff. Thank you very much, Arya. I'm learning so much from you. And thank you everyone who was on the chat. Bye everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.